No claw? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I have the claw too. I just made myself a smoothie earlier. Hello, also, we are live. We went with pineapple today. I didn't even know what I pulled out.
I've got a pina colada. This is a new flavor. I've never had this before. This could really go either way.
Oh, well, I guess we're kind of both at the pineapple, so there's some synergy there, but
It's okay. It's more, it tastes like coconut water. Which is
okay.
fun.
I mean, I guess that kind of is what it is. It's all water in the end.
Exactly.
Lita, as I always ask, how are you doing?
I'm good. I finally finished all of the Star Wars.
Yeah, well, okay, you ruined my joke. I was going to say, I'm so excited to have you on to recap your thoughts of Star Wars.
I would love to. It's the only thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
But I did post my Twitter rankings. I kept messing them up because the numbers are like really confusing because like the first three are 4 through 6. So I kept messing it up, but I posted a screenshot because I just kept getting the thread wrong. But...
I mean, I did keep seeing, I was like, okay, I thought there was a tweet here, but now it's saying I can't view it. Lita blocked me, but only for one tweet.
I just had to keep redoing it. So then I just put it in one tweet as screenshots.
Well, go follow at Lita Tweeted for the Star Wars rankings. They're scientific, mathematical even, and I mean, who could find fault in them?
Yeah, no one. They are objective.
Very objective.
Especially 2 of them being episode 6, according to me.
Yeah, that would. I mean, if you think about it, it kind of is.
I know. That's why it's confusing. The last 2 are both episode 6, but you know what? Canonically, they're the same movie in that I only watched half of both of them, and I hated them.
They were identical. Okay, well, we are here today to talk Survivor Maryland, Terrapin Trials. We can dabble into Star Wars at some point. I'm trying to think if there are any really clear parallels. I got none. Do you have any?
Okay, Star Wars is the most basic universal story of going to the dark side. I feel like Feluke kind of went to the dark side this episode and being likable.
Should we? What, was she not likable before?
No, I'm saying she went to the dark side. She was less likable in this episode.
We can certainly talk about that. That wasn't the take I was expecting. But let me set up a couple of things while we're here because we kind of have things planned out for the rest of this season. So we're going to recap episode 12 tonight. I was going back and forth on having Marissa come on, but I know she hasn't watched in a while, so I ultimately didn't. But if you feel like you want to ask her questions, I will text her right now.
I don't know that I'm gonna have the take that Marissa stands want to hear, especially Marissa. Although I do want to ask her if we work on the same floor.
We'll just ask her on only for that question.
And why do you wear a Pittsburgh hoodie all the time?
But I am excited to announce also that I want to do a couple things tonight. So we'll go through the episode, do the usual thoughts and whatever. I think at the end, because we've set up that you know the winner of this season, so I think at the end we should do a spoiler included section only on that spoiler. I'm not going to spoil you, obviously, but basically getting your thoughts on the finale from a spoiler perspective, because I think I'm interested to hear what you think going into it, because it's certainly a different perspective than if you were not going in spoiled, I think.
Right.
So we'll do that. And then this Sunday at 3 p.m., we are going to be doing the recap of the finale. We're going to have Lita to go through her instant reactions, and I think you're going to have a lot of reactions. I'm just going to say, and I don't know where they're going to go. So because this is it's a very infamous finale, famous. You could go either way on it. It's definitely very polarizing, but very interesting, I think, in a lot of different ways. And it's certainly not for the faint of heart. So it will not be as goofy as the Star Wars: The Last Jedi, but we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be good. I mean that though. It's like people compare it to Palau a little bit, but in the kind of like tone.
Well, Palau is famously my favorite Survivor season.
Well, maybe Terrapin Trials is coming for that prize. Just kidding. But so we'll do that, and we're also going to have Sam and Derek back on. It'll be Derek's first time watching, and he'll be unspoiled going into it, so I'm sure he'll have a totally different perspective. I know Sam's going to talk about it too, and then also along with that, I haven't even told you this, although I guess I hinted at it before. We will have Victoria come on to chat through things and discuss the season and discuss the finale. So I'm definitely very excited about that. She will be joining us from the United Kingdom. So that should be fun.
Oh, what's she doing in the UK?
She is studying there in London.
Oh, I guess probably grad school, unless she failed college over and over again.
Well, Survivor really just tanks your college career. It's a sad story. We don't talk about that, but yeah, whatever.
You don't get to be an iconic Survivor Maryland strategist by going to class.
No, I mean, I guess some of them, there was some strategy in class that I heard of, but most of the times you don't. But yes, classes for the week. Survivor strategy is for the bold, and I think we had an interesting episode. Going into it, I was worried it was going to be too strategy heavy for you. Maybe it was, but I feel like it was still interesting from the people perspective too.
No, I don't think it was. I do just kind of want you maybe at the end to like walk me through what everybody thought was going to happen versus what happened, because I got really confused about like what switched at the end.
We can do that now because I also, it took me a lot of time to piece this together, and I'm not even sure I have the full picture.
So I would just say that like my main question is like, I feel like Victoria 1 second is saying nobody knows how in the middle I am, and then the next second, right before tribal, she's saying, or at tribal, she's saying, well, I very obviously picked my side. It's like, what? When did that happen?
So here's what I think. I think that Victoria was simultaneous things happening. So you leave the final 6 vote. The sides seem like they're Victoria, Terry, Zach, Fluke, Marissa.
Right.
Obviously, Victoria kind of ventures back over to those, which I think we'll talk through. And so that presents her the option. I think that after talking to Fluke and Marissa, I think that she felt closest or felt best with the girls going forward. Mm-hmm. And so I think that everything she said to Fluke was true.
Yeah, and she said in confessional, I'm not lying to her.
Yeah. And so I think that at tribal, she was trying to lie to pretend like she had not flipped over to them.
Oh.
So she's putting on an act there, while separately, Terry is putting on this whole different act for a very different reason. So the Terry part is, I think, the part that's most missing on film, and it just wasn't filmed. But the best I understood after, and I know you like briefly touched on the confessional, but I think what happened is that he went to Fluke and basically, I don't know if he played dumb or he revealed the plan. He kind of said a mixture of both, but I think he basically convinced Fluke that she shouldn't trust Victoria. Mm-hmm. And so she then doubted everything Victoria said, then flipped her and Marissa's votes onto Victoria and played the idol on herself because she thought Victoria was getting her to play the idol somewhere else. Yeah. So I think Terry is really what switched it last second, which I was, of course, like an actual big game move by him that wasn't on camera. But I think that is ultimately what happened, is that he flipped it last second and Victoria and him were lying. Oh, Lita left. So now I'm talking to myself. I guess we're switching to the phone. We're getting an early start this time. Jack, if you want Marissa, you can call her up. I'll give you her number. Just kidding, I will not. Well, while we're waiting for Lita, anybody have questions for me in the chat? Jack, anyone else? Now we're getting a lot of DVR viewers these days. Lita is back on the thing. I'm very excited for Victoria to come on for the finale. If you guys who are watching this now or later, because I know people are watching later too, if you guys have questions that you want me to ask Victoria, specifically about Terrapin Trials and maybe Terrapin Trials going into All-Stars, I don't think we want to get too into the All-Stars details because Lita hasn't seen all of it and probably other people watching haven't either. So, but if you have questions for Victoria about herself, about Terrapin Trials or whatever, definitely send those to me. In the meantime, is Cool Wi-Fi has made a return. And
I don't know, man. I am on all day for work. It's just what I'm on with you. So I'm on my phone now, so it's fine.
Okay, it's choppy, but I think maybe it's picking up. Can you hear me?
So is that I'm Victoria
that is not something I was able to hear. Try again.
When did Victoria flip her vote?
Got it. Okay. She voted for Marissa, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that her plan was to vote for Marissa and then let the idol, I think she was basically saying that the idol would wash out her vote. So I don't think she was ever going to vote for Terry, as far as I understand. But I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So did that make sense
and
ultimately from the vote perspective?
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to come back in on my computer now because I think
Okay.
it's working and it'll be better.
Okay. Oh my, we're gonna have double Lita. Okay, I'm removing the other one. Okay, that looks good. Great, we did it.
Okay, great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I was just confused about like, I feel like we didn't see when Victoria like planted her flag, but now that you say that, it makes more sense. It's just a shame because they had the votes. Like, if Victoria really was with Fluke and Marissa, which I believe that she was, they had the votes. So
Right.
it's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, I think she hadn't decided, and I think that she probably saw both ways, and so yeah, it's definitely very clear if she had just wanted to go for the 3 and get Terry out, they definitely could have. So, this is why the feminist movement doesn't work, right?
What a all over the place statement.
Okay, well, you want to give your thoughts on Fluke this episode because you kind
of so for like this is why the feminist movement doesn't work. I understand that she is a feminist and she's coming from a place that I agree with, but at first when she was saying that, like usually when people say the feminist movement doesn't work, they're not on my side. So it was just sort of a confusing way of saying that, and she's like saying that the only reason that Holly was voted out is because women can't work with each other, which is not true. And like I get that it's frustrating, but I feel like Fluke in this episode was a more sore loser than you and I, which is saying something.
Yeah, I usually take the cake on that, but it's usually more directed at like the ref versus the other people, so
or the dice or whatever.
Or the categories judges, which are the refs, basically.
Exactly.
That's why the game is so frustrating.
But Fluke was mad at the refs too. I mean, it was such a bad look. The thing where like she touched my head or whatever.
Yeah, that was a bizarre vote. I mean, I think having a challenge 20 minutes after tribal is always an interesting endeavor because for whatever reason, I feel like a lot of times they happen after pretty intense votes, and it's like people have not had time to process their feelings, and I think Fluke certainly was having a whole range of them.
Yeah, so and she was already saying "fuck you, Austin."
Also the big mystery of, and I still don't know this to this day, is was she really trying to throw the water at me, or was she okay with splashing on Victoria? I never know.
I don't know. I would say that FU Austin is at this crucial moment introducing the most gender biased challenge towards men possible.
So yes, that has always been literally my biggest regret ever as a producer. And this is the infamous challenge where it was supposed to be a pool challenge and it got nixed last second. And so I scrambled to do a last second challenge. But yeah, no, I agree. It definitely was a very unfair challenge.
It's a fun challenge. It's a better challenge to do like Steal the Bacon in Tribes, where you can do just women versus women matchups.
Which I rectified in the next season and did exactly that.
Okay, great. Because it's like the Guatemala Final Immunity Challenge of just who is the tallest.
Yeah, that one's a great one.
Yeah, this is just who has the longest arms.
Well, I feel like you could like hear me realizing it in my voice when I'm like, and Terry, longer arms, and yeah.
Yes, Marissa had one great move on Zach, but that was or maybe on Terry, but that was it.
It gave me hope, but yeah. No, I totally agree with you. There's no defense for me on that one, except for that I did not have that challenge planned, and it was the last second.
Yeah.
Change up. So, ask Fluke if she can steal my bacon. I'll have to ask her that.
Yeah. So I think there was a lot going on with Fluke. I want to make clear that I completely understand where she's coming from when she's talking about how she's sort of like playing the angry Black woman character. I understand that, but at the same time, when she says something like, I am just acting like I'm upset about Holly getting voted out, but actually I am upset about Holly getting voted out. It's like, you're not, you're just upset, and that's okay. And that's reasonable, but you don't have to play it off as strategy. It's transparent.
Yeah. I think it's funny that in this episode, we saw Terry and Zach, and probably Victoria too, but I think most of the two of them say, Fluke is going to play it strategically. She's a strategic player. She's going to do something with this idol. We have to be worried. She's going to psych us out. Where this is probably the most emotional episode like Fluke had.
Yeah.
And I think they were able to capitalize that in the end by kind of playing on the paranoia that she hadn't had before. And that's I think, ultimately what Terry did, is that Fluke was, had this confidence, this, veneer of invincibility with the two idols. And now that that's taken down, I think the paranoia was a really severe thing.
Yeah.
Did you watch the secret scene I sent you?
No, I forgot.
Okay, it's not a big deal.
Sorry.
It's just basically Fluke yelling. You probably would sympathize with her there, of like, why did I not know that this was not an idol? And I was like, you didn't. It wasn't an idol.
Yeah, that was wild at Tribal. I do feel like Zach was being a huge drama queen.
He was so sanctimonious. He was like, what a terrible thing to do.
Terrible thing to do. Like, oh, come on.
I found it very funny, actually. But yeah,
I just like the idea of like you introducing the steal the bacon challenge and Zach being like, what a terrible thing to do. Steal somebody's bacon. Why would you do that?
Yeah, Zach protested and walked out of that challenge. And so did Sierra, because it was too close. Everyone was too close together. I'm sorry, I love Sierra. That was a joke.
I like our caricature of Sierra as literally a nun.
Sister Sierra.
Meanwhile, the opposite of a nun. I'm considering canceling Zach for an earnest "that's what she said."
Well, I thought it was a real development of the season. Everyone besides Zach, where early in the season they all laughed really hard at that, and this time nobody. I don't even know if they heard it, but nobody made a reaction. It really
said it like under his breath.
Yeah,
it also wasn't even a good one.
It really wasn't. So he's canceled. Wow, just for that.
No, I said I was considering it.
Let me ask you about Marissa, since she ended up being the boot this episode. Where did you end up on her? Because she was low for you before, and she had the grudges, but then she became part of this Girls Alliance, and I actually thought this was her best episode, like game wise.
I am really not trying to be rude. I just legitimately want someone, probably Jack in the comments, to explain to me why we stand. Maybe I'll ask Maddie G. I just don't think I'm gonna remember her if I watch another season of this show.
I think she's just very sweet and adorable in a way that you don't always get, especially in this, almost like a Colleen Haskell kind of thing, where she just has the squeaky voice sometimes. I found her hilarious at the Tribal she was drunk at. I found her last words to be very cute.
Oh yeah, it was the total opposite of Harry's last words. Even though she would say it's just a stupid game, but it's you can tell she obviously doesn't think it's a stupid game.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate tears. The more tears, the merrier for me. If people show that they care, it wins me over 100% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I cry at 100% of the things I've ever done. So
Jack says this is an edit thing. Middle of the road positive.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an edging thing. I was like, oh wait, Lita's not gonna know what morp is.
Nope.
she's so morpy.
I was like, I have no idea what that is. Is that a horny thing?
Did you at least feel like there was a nice resolution to the day one, grudge against Fluke for kicking her in the stomach, and now they're besties?
She's a true friend.
So
yeah, I mean, I don't not like I have no issue with Marissa. I just am not. I feel like people who don't stand Michelle Fitzgerald. It's maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to be open to that possibility. I am just not seeing it.
I don't think that the Marissa stand-up is as large as I think a lot of people like Marissa. I just don't think that it's it very much got amplified by A, Jack being our most regular commenter, and B,
Maddie G being one of my best friends.
Yes, that he does love her, and also she did have that underdog win in the Maryland Madness bracket. That was the peak for Marissa.
Yeah, I think who is she against?
Sherry, who you have not met.
Someone I don't know.
Yeah, she's in Good to Glory.
Okay, gotcha.
Sherry is the international exchange student from China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of her.
Anyway, but
if she's half as good as Sherry from Survivor Karamoan, then I am in.
I gotta say they're a little bit different.
I can't imagine how.
Anyway, what about Victoria this episode? It was definitely an interesting one for her. And I had kind of forgotten a lot of what happened where, like, I didn't even remember kind of the whole back and forth. I didn't remember a lot about this episode, so it was kind of a new experience for me. But what'd you think of her kind of overall and how she, advanced past the final 6 vote?
I mean, I think the problem with the spot that Victoria's in is like, I mean, who's taking her at this point? Like, I don't feel like she's anybody's number one anymore. And maybe they'll think that the jury is mad at her enough that they'll take her. Maybe I have no idea who comes in second. So maybe it's possible that the jury hates Victoria because of these moves and that she comes in second. I don't know. But I just don't see who is taking her. Like, at this point, she's kind of pissed off everybody. I mean, at this point, I don't think that, like, if the guys are going to Fluke behind Victoria's back and saying, like, hey, you shouldn't trust her, then obviously they don't completely trust her. So I just don't know. Like, she went from being in with everybody to kind of not being in with anybody, which is always the line that you're walking when you're playing the middle.
Yeah, I just didn't realize how close she was to actually getting voted out here. Like, if Fluke plays the middle of Marissa, she goes. And I think it comes down to that. It's really hard to play the middle at Final 5. It's very transparent, and I don't think, you kind of just have to choose a side at this point. And playing both sides doesn't work, although I did think it came close to working. And I think her and Fluke both played their kind of reunion very well in the moment. I think they both handled it pretty well and healed things in a way that made sense, especially after how kind of like tense it was after the tribal itself. But yeah, I think you kind of touched on it earlier. I think she has to kind of really pick a side. And if you want to if you want to go with the girls, get Terry out. If you want to go with the guys, don't talk to Fluke or whatever. Don't kind of play both sides of it.
Right. Because even if you successfully play the middle at Final 5, which I guess she technically did, though it was messy, once you're to Final 4, that's it. You can't play the middle anymore. So, and you're obviously always, even if she does go with Zach and Terry, she's always going to be 3 out of 3 there.
Yeah.
So, and I think it would be hard for her to reunite with Fluke at this point and go to 2.
Do you think one of the sides would have been a better play for her to just totally stick with?
I think she should have, and obviously this is like totally hindsight 2020, because as I mentioned, I am incredibly bad at like understanding strategic ramifications. So when you asked me, like, when she voted out Holly, if it was the right move, like, hard to say in the moment, but I do think I don't see what the problem with her sticking with the girls for another week or so was. Like, I understand that she was threatened by Holly and Fluke potentially being the final 2, but when there's 6 people left, like, there's still enough game that it's not like Holly's going to run the table immunity wise. I mean, she's a threat immunity wise, but I don't think she's going to win 3 in a row or 4 in a row. It's Final 2.
Yeah. I think the hard part is really figuring out where everybody stacks in the jury's eyes. And I don't think, like I said last week, kind of, it's hard to read these juries, and I don't think it was very clear at all, but I think that Victoria probably saw herself as behind, in likability at least, both Holly and probably Marissa too, with like the whole underdog last Rafiki thing. So I would bet that was kind of part of it, and also part of why she wasn't sure this week is that, if she goes to the Final 4, the only, she might think the only shot she has against Fluke, which she said earlier, but she might not even feel like she could win that. So
sure, but I feel like you don't have to go to the Final 4. I feel like you wait one more week and get out like Terry or whatever, then, and like, she could have saved Zach's idol at that point, right? Like, if she had said, hey, like, you're good tonight, then she and Zach could flip it at Final 5 with the idol.
I guess she would have had to either have Zach vote Terry, or she would have had to flip herself, because I think the girls did want Zach out, so there probably wasn't a way to push it, but maybe she could push it the other way. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say, but I do think, like, she had such a solid alliance, and at this point, I don't know what her path to the end is, unless she's a bigger goat than I think she is, or at least they see her that way.
Mm-hmm. What's your take on Zach at this point? And I will say, we didn't talk about this earlier with the vote. Him voting for Fluke made absolutely no sense to me, and I've never gotten a good answer for why he did it.
I don't understand. Maybe he just was like, No, I was gonna say maybe he was like so scared that somebody else had an idol that like he would get out with one vote, so he like split the vote, but with only 3 people. I don't know.
His voting confessional said like he wanted to see where, I guess he was safe, so he wanted to see where people went and wanted to see it go to a revote. But I don't see why you wouldn't still just vote the way you want to vote. Like if you don't,
I mean, why do you want to see it go to a revote?
I don't know. I
Too
don't know.
risky.
So do you have other thoughts on him though? Otherwise, he was described as the annoying younger brother who's constantly getting Fluke into trouble.
I mean, I don't know how accurate that is. Like, I feel like those two have no relationship, but for the last like 3 episodes. But I don't know. Zach is fine. I mean, we don't get too much of him in confessional for sure. So it's hard to tell like where his head is at, but he's fine. I have no issue with like the way he's been playing strategically, except that I don't understand why he voted for Fluke.
Have your feelings changed in any way about Terry, or do you have feelings about Terry these days?
No.
Okay. So I think one big storyline kind of coming out of this, and we don't have to go into the finale yet, but the final 4 is the Hukatano 4 from day one, which always is really a cool thing to me, in that you could on the one hand say that it's really boring that this is how the season went, that the Hukatano 4 made the final 4, and yet literally almost never were they on the same page or together. So it's always one of my favorite kind of groups to go to the end of the game. What do you kind of think about them, the 4 of them overall?
Yeah, dysfunctional family. It's like Kasaya in Survivor Panama. They all hated each other, but they kept going far together.
Yeah, I guess there are enough sub relationships within that where, they felt good enough, or maybe it's just a set of circumstances. I don't really even know how it happened, but I always enjoyed that. I think it's a really interesting mix of people that.
Yeah, and it wasn't, it was a pagonging kind of, but that's why tribe swaps are important, because you kind of forget that it's a pagonging once there's a swap.
Yeah. Oh no, we didn't have Kane in the end.
No. Robbed goddess.
What other kind of did you have any major takeaways or random things you wanted to get out there early? Or I don't know, it's not early. We're 30 minutes.
Coming up on a half hour. My alarm just went off for Survivor. It's starting in a half hour. I don't know if you knew that.
Do you not remember it?
So the thing about isolation is that I'm like a huge Google Calendar queen. Like I put every single thing on my Google Calendar. And so because I have nothing really to put on it, in isolation, it makes me feel sane to put like weekly things like Survivor on it.
Okay, that's a totally fair thing to do.
Yeah, so I just put as many things as I possibly can on my calendar, even though
there was a bit where one of my coworkers was messaging on that. We were waiting for like a cameo to come in for someone, and so she was giving hourly updates. So it would just be like 6 p.m. update, 7 p.m. update, and I was like, "This is really great for like tracking the day." Yeah, otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's really all I had to say. I feel like everything is building up to this Fluke and Victoria finale.
Yes. I'll run through some of the kind of random quotes I had before we get into the finale section. Victoria, what did you think of Victoria giving out cookies much like Randy Bailey?
Oh, it worked out so well for Randy.
Well, if you don't get cookies, you're not in the alliance. That's what we learned.
Yeah.
Zach and Terry got cookies. How would you play that if you're Fluke, or even if you're Victoria, maybe in either shoes, like after the vote happens and Fluke's stance was, I'm not going to say anything until Victoria comes to me. Do you like sympathize with that? Or
I sympathize with it because I am someone that like can be very passive aggressive. Like I actually, much like many things, I go both ways. I can be pretty confrontational, but I also can be pretty passive aggressive. I think in that case, it's not like I would have called out Victoria, but I think in a game context, I would have been fine like approaching her and talking to her and just seeing what she had to say, because at the very least it could, if she feeds me bullshit, it could vindicate how mad I feel.
Yeah.
It just, because there's something more frustrating than when you're like really mad at somebody and then they give like a totally reasonable explanation of why they did what they did. And you're like, damn it. Like you want to be mad at them in that point. So I feel like either like she goes and talks to her, and either she gets a reasonable explanation, then she can just go and cool off or whatever, or she gets even more mad and knows that she can't work with Victoria. Because either way, I feel like she has an answer. Just kind of sitting there waiting, giving Victoria all the time in the world to come up with the story is a bad idea.
Yeah. Although it is probably good that she especially waited a bit, because I imagine the conversation, 2 hours after Tribal is probably very different from the conversation a day or two later when you've come to terms a lot more with it. Like Feluke was basically at a certain point, like, actually, this is in a way beneficial for me because Holly was this big threat, and maybe that's justifying, but I think there is actually truth in that. That's
true, but also, like, I still feel like you don't just, when you're on the bottom, you don't just sit and wait for people to come to you, because they might not.
Definitely. Victoria did say though that she was like, I'm actually the master of passive aggressive, so you can't.
I believe that.
Do you vibe with this? I've never been liked, but I will be respected.
No, everybody likes me.
Okay. I respect you too, so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I want to be, to keep with the Office quotes, I want to be so liked that I'm respected, that it's respectful.
Is that a Michael Scott quote?
No, he says, do I want to be loved or feared? I want to be loved so much it's scary.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. I think that the "Fuck You, Austin" cold open was one of my best cold opens. Like with the sound drop, gave me chills.
Fuck you, Austin. Go suck some eggs.
Do do do.
What?
No, just like I'm. This is where I geek out over editing, and people have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm a big, whatever the cold open is, when it, like, whatever the quote is that drops into the intro, that's like my literally favorite thing to make of the entire. So like I pay a lot. I spend like a lot of time being like, what is the right quote to end? It's like the mic drop quote is what I call it.
Wow, I'm gonna have to start looking out for those when we go into the next season.
Yeah, I think I got especially. It was like late in this season, early the next, when I was like, oh my god, this is my thing. So I thought "Fuck You, Austin" into the
into
yes. Sorry, I didn't say it. Yeah, it's Baru.
I did not know what you were talking about.
Well, because this one has a little like drum at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know which season you stole the music from? Because the music is a little bit different in every season of Survivor.
I might have done Palau for this on that note, but
iconic.
I'd have to remember. I know for Guts and Glory, I did Philippines, and for All Stars, I did Heroes versus Villains, and I tried to like match
great
them.
Seasons only.
I try to like match them to the tone of the season, at least like that I like aspired for it to be. That's just how I kind of view the two of those. So, I that's why I want to say Palau for this, but I'm not actually sure. It might have just been a song at this point. It might have been one that I thought sounded good.
I took a fan-made BuzzFeed quiz about which winners at War Queen are you, and I got Denise.
Oh, the one that was winner 'S at War.
Oh, I didn't see, but I got Denise on my first try, so I'm having a great day.
Liked and respected.
Yes, absolutely. My winner pick from day one. Well, from day -84 or whatever we found out about the cat.
Are you gonna get the Denise haircut too while you're at it?
If ever there were a time. I feel like quarantine is the moment.
Yeah. Danny last night was like, he was like using scissors, or he was using, I just heard noises from the bathroom, and I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm giving myself a haircut. I was like, you're what? And he was flossing. So
he was just like flossing. He was doing the dance.
Yes. He does them at the same time.
Wait, he has an electric flosser?
No. I just heard like, it almost sounded like snipping sounds.
Oh, I thought you meant you heard like razor sounds.
No. I thought one of my better narration or commentary lines was Marissa trying to go to bed. I'm really starting to have fun with it.
Yeah, clearly.
I also said tottering on the edge. I don't know that.
That's tottering is fine. I know everybody said it. Tottering is fine. It's a word.
Feluke whipping her hair back and forth was our 2014 reference alert.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know why Victoria. Did you notice Victoria being on the ground before Tribal? She was getting confessionals about like being on the fence, and there was a shot of her like just like lying on the ground. I have no idea where that came from. Hopefully somebody saw that.
Meditation.
You mentioned this quote earlier, but I trust Marissa because she's loyal, and Marissa aggressive nods.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the main ones I had. Kind of random
Yeah.
thing.
Should we go into spoiler buffer?
Yes. Do you have any non-spoiler finale takes you want to say, or should we just move right into it?
I just have no idea who the runner-up is.
Okay. Well,
I have guesses.
Before we switch into that, in case anyone is tuning out, maybe there's people out there who don't know. Actually,
Derek.
Yeah, Derek. So if you do not want to get spoiled in the finale, tune out now. Cook Island's theme song for Terrapin Trials. Jack is so helpful. Always the best.
We need a spoiler buffer like the Happy Hour used to have. Did you ever listen to the reality TV Happy Hour with Jordan Carhart?
Or the Dom and Colin one has it too.
Yeah. Yes. On their Happy Hour, it used to be like, the following has been designated as a spoiler.
Spoilers. Yeah. Well, before we do that, so Sunday finale, 3 p.m. We will have Sam and Derek, and we will also have Victoria. Yay! It's gonna be fun.
We stand. Sunday finale, I love it. It harkens back to Survivor finales when I was a kid.
Yes, this is the rare pre-Super Bowl finale.
Can you wear your like Jeff Probst stuff and talk to a kid in the audience played by Danny and like have a bowl of rice?
Danny would lean into that way too hard. It would be so weird. He'd be like, "Hello, oh my god!" But sure, we'll pull out all the stops for this.
Okay, great.
Join us live for that if you want to talk to Victoria. I will certainly publicize that. And I know people always have a lot of thoughts that are interested in TT finales, so we'll see where things go. Okay, spoilers. Okay, so again, tune out now if you don't want to know. Lita, as you were aware, I'll let you say it just in case it's different, but you know the winner of the season, right?
Yes. I'm so tempted to fuck with you. But I do know that Terry wins the season.
Yes. Now, having seen every episode but the finale.
Literally, what the fuck, Austin?
So I can tell you that in real time, I thought there was a literally 0% chance that Terry would win in live before. Literally zero. I've never this Jeff Probst, like Spencer has 0% chance to win.
Yeah.
Exactly as he's being portrayed, exactly all the hate, all the shade, whatever. That is how he was viewed.
The fact that I know he wins makes me nervous that Victoria is the runner-up, because I don't see why Terry would win unless it's like a Russell Hantz situation where they really hate the person who actually made moves, because I don't see how Zach and Terry in the final two, how Zach with an idol play doesn't get the votes. Especially here, like you could always say like, maybe Terry is just like an amazing person, but per Holly, she didn't even know that he had a personality until after the game. So like, how is he getting votes? I feel like maybe he has to go to the end with either Victoria or Felipe. People are really mad at. I have no idea. If so, that's stupid.
Well, I'm kind of glad that you know the outcome going into it, because I think if you were expecting that we would ride out this season with like an amazing, like, I don't know, any other outcome, that you would be like incredibly disappointed. So I'm glad you at least know.
I mean, especially after so much talk about a women's alliance.
Well, it's honestly
and then the most mediocre man wins.
It's very similar in a way to like how Island of the Idols had like, the best female cast of all time. People were saying like the strongest woman and all these huge edits for women, and they have the first day confessionals and like everything leading up to that. Except that I feel like this was like very player perpetuated, and like everything really seemed like it should have been working out for a woman to win, and it just does not. Can
you tell me one person who was on Island of the Idols? Because I don't remember that.
Chelsea Walker, Maryland legend, last season.
Who was a woman that like what?
Janet.
Oh, Janet. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I remember the season. This is the rape season. Okay, I remember.
The what? The rape season?
No, the rape season.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot we had to erase that one. You're right. It didn't exist. Anyway,
No, I am not joking. I literally didn't remember any women from that season. I remember Tommy winning, but I couldn't remember any of the women.
Unfortunately there was no pun for that season because Terrapin Trials is always held up well over time. But
yeah,
but as we know, it was the season of Terry.
Yeah, of course. Have we ever had? Oh, I was about to ask a really dumb question. I was about to ask if we'd ever had a Terry on The Real Survivor before I remembered the iconic Terry of Survivor Panama.
Very
Awesome!
neat.
Wow, neat.
So much Kasaya.
Yes. Well, it's my buff that I've been wearing as my face mask.
My dad said that because he's making face masks right now with the seamstress at work, and he said that he made me and Danny a Survivor buff or Survivor face mask. I was like, oh, Dad.
Great. Yes. My brother is not just friends with Terry Dietz on Facebook. He's friends with Trish and Terry, which is the combined Facebook group of Trish and Terry, who are husband and wife.
That's such a boomer thing.
I know.
Is to have the combined one where, it's ridiculous.
It's like there was that photo on Tumblr like forever ago that was like a Facebook message to one of those couple things. And it was like, Dan, please do not look. Carol, ... Hello.
Jesus. Facebook is just a boomer thing in general. There was we were watching something the Michael Jordan documentary. And
I heard there was a former Chicago resident on that.
Yeah, there was. It's amazing. But the ad pops on and it's like, this is an ad from the Facebook company. And it's like, no one has ever said the Facebook company.
Just say Facebook. It's cleaner. Literally a line from The Social Network.
Right, I'm so confused.
Wait, what was the Michael Jordan movie called?
The Last Dance.
Oh, yeah. I thought everybody was tweeting about some Lifetime original movie or something. It's a terrible title.
A cultural phenomenon. It has a reason. It was like the theme of their last season. I don't know.
I thought that Michael Jordan had...
That's different than The Last Dance.
I thought that Michael Jordan had died, and separately there was a movie that everybody was tweeting about. So I was like, wow, everybody's tweeting about Michael Jordan and something called The Last Dance. Those certainly aren't connected.
My God. I just want to have a feed of you reading through your timeline and trying to piece things together. I feel like there's a lot of these moments.
Yeah. Kevin gets a lot of just me reading my phone.
Anyway, so yes, it is definitely not an outcome I would have expected going in. I would definitely do want to warn you, like it is a very like emotionally intense finale.
Yeah, I know, just like now that we're in the spoiler zone, I know about the Feluke Victoria confrontation, but I don't know about it in context at all.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. It definitely, I mean, the story of the season is them. And I don't think that changes in the finale in a lot of ways. There's, also the side plot of Terry winning that I think is interesting in its own right. And I will say this isn't like an outcome I would want for every season. And in the moment, like I was like I actually took a semester break from hosting these after the season where I was like, okay, that was a lot. This wasn't that fun. But yeah. I think that it's certainly from like it's just an interesting thing to watch, and I'm okay with how it happened in the one time that it did. I just wouldn't want it to happen. I don't want Terry to win every season, but in the context of this, I think it was certainly an interesting ending. So
you went full Jeff Probst after Michelle won. Like, we have to change everything.
Yeah, there's so many twists. There's actually just all women in the next season in Guts and Glory. You should be excited.
Why not?
I mean, it's harder to cast women.
Why? Because we're not as interesting?
No, because they're not as interested in me in playing the Survivor game. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's totally perfect that we get an entire season of this really compelling arc between two women of color, and then a very mediocre dude wins.
At least he's not a white dude.
Thank God.
Yeah, the one thing we have going for us. Yes, it is, but I don't think the arc is between the two of them, and I think it's very compelling, and it leads in the finale. And it's not that I wanted it to end this way, but it's definitely interesting how it does. So
yeah, I'm very interested to see how this whole confrontation is filmed, like just literally logistically, like when this happens and how. It's
a lot of it. I guess we'll talk about it after. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, don't tell me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Like, yeah, I mean, there are parts of the finale that like I wasn't even there for. Just like there's all kinds of things in the whole thing that are very interesting. Anyway, it's a roller coaster, so I warn you for that. But I think it should be fun to talk about. And I've talked to Victoria about it plenty, obviously, but I don't think we've had her really to talk about it on air. So I'm very interested to hear what she has to say.
Yeah.
And it certainly should be very interesting.
I am excited. I have met Victoria, but we only got to speak fairly briefly at the...
Because you were silenced because I hate women, famously.
Yes.
Yeah. At the reunion. That's what you were... Oh, no, I guess at the finale? Or no, you should have been at the reunion game.
Yeah, but we didn't... we were on different tribes and she was voted out first.
Yeah.
So I barely spoke to her.
It's very dark in here also.
I barely spoke to her then. I mean, she was very nice to me, but I don't really have any memory of us connecting. And then at the reunion at Shubal's house, we spoke a little bit, and nothing but pleasant conversations with Victoria.
Very great. She's very nice, very fun, a lot of different sides of her personality, and ultimately it was a joy to have her play Survivor twice. Oh my God! Spoiler: she plays in All Stars.
Yes, and
sure,
I was
watching.
Having only seen the first 2 episodes and the finale of All Stars, I was a Victoria stan.
Yes. Okay. Well, I don't have any other. Do you have any other predictions or thoughts you want to put out there for the finale, or do you have any thoughts on the preview itself specifically?
I famously don't watch Next Time Ons.
Okay. Oh, you don't watch anything
on. No, because I always forget them as soon as I see them, and it never resonates with me at all. So it's a waste of time. I watch them on Survivor because I want to see the final words.
Yeah, they hinted it after for it. Yeah. I think I switched to doing that, so I roped you in. Sorry, you just stay tuned for after the commercial break.
Yeah, so many commercials on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to talk to you Sunday. I think the finale is like 2.5 hours. So
oh my God, are you serious?
It's very long. I told you.
Oh man, I'm not gonna have any notes because I'm gonna need to be doing something on my phone for that amount of time.
You can watch it in 2 parts if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% gonna do that. But
yeah, I would say watch.
Like it's a whole Star Wars movie, Austin.
Well, hopefully it's better. We'll see where it fits in your Star Wars rankings.
I'll just put the Survivor Terrapin Trials finale.
Episode 10. Terry Wars?
No,
Wars?
they're all episode 6 now.
What was I going to say? Okay, they're all episode 6. I would say watch the final 4. Then if you want, you can stop and then watch the final 3 on, or you can break that into 2 parts too. But I know, shocking idea here. Watch one of the votes, then watch.
I was gonna stop as soon as they get to tribal council. Was that not right?
I had a big debate the other day. You can settle this for me.
Okay.
If you are voted out at a tribal council,
mm-hmm.
does that mean you made it through the whole round? Like, when does the round stop and start? Because
no, you didn't make it through that round.
Not through the round. So if I'm saying like this is my last round, like I get voted out this round, I feel like I made it through the whole round. The round ends when I'm out, but I did not make it to the next round.
No.
How did you get cut short? It just ends right there. You didn't
the
miss it.
round ends after the person leaves.
That's what I'm saying. So you did make it through the whole round.
No, after you leave. Like you're voted out and then the round ends. That's the last thing that happens in a round.
You walked out a different thing in part of the round.
So you think that getting voted out is the first thing that happens in a round?
No. No, I think it's the last thing that happens in a round.
Oh, I see what you mean. No, but no. I understand what you're saying, but it's just unnecessarily semantic. You didn't make it through the round. To survive tribal, you have to survive tribal council to make it through.
It was lasted the whole round. Like I lasted.
What, as opposed to what? Getting medevaced?
That's what I'm saying. I think that you lasted the whole round.
No, that's so stupid. There's only one time that you can get voted out. It's at the end, so who cares?
But you did this round. You didn't get the next. Okay, the debate will just have
because
to.
You didn't die.
All right. Well, it's 8 minutes till Survivor based on my alarm that just went off. Just kidding. Thank you for again, Lita. It's always a pleasure. And anything else you want to get out there?
Stan, Denise, and Anom Shiva. Nick is going home tonight.
What did you say? Anom Shiba?
Anom Shiva. It's, I think it's the chant that they do in the Indiana Jones Temple of Doom.
You haven't seen any of the Indiana Jones movies?
I haven't really either. I saw Temple of Doom when I was like 5, and it scarred me for life. But now I'm a huge Harrison Ford film buff, apparently.
Apparently, more than me. Yeah, you've seen all the Harrison Ford things now. You're gonna watch Jack Ryan too?
I don't know what that is.
It's him. Okay, well,
no.
You can look it up.
We as a society have moved past John Krasinski.
No. Harrison Ford is in the original Jack Ryan.
I know.
Nice. Okay. Well, I will see you Sunday. Looking forward to it, and have a great. I'm sure you'll have a lot of updates to give. So have a great 4 days until then. 3 days.
Thank you. You too. Have a wonderful White Rice Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, happy Earth Day, Austin.
Oh, thank you. I've been my celebration has been full of joy.
Planting trees all day.
I have been, yes, in my house, in my apartment. Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.